Welcome back to the Coca-Cola Halftime Report, brought to you by our friends at Coca-Cola, who always remind you to enjoy the Coke side of life. Our guest today, head coach of the women's Lafayette basketball program, Coach Kia Damon-Olson. And Coach, welcome to the Lafayette Sports Network.
Thank you for having me. It's going to be fun.
Always a pleasure. I don't think there's anyone I enjoy talking. Well, Coach O'Hanlon as well, but I love talking hoops with you guys. Coach, you've been around the game all your life. And, one of the things we haven't had a chance to talk to you about is the people that you grew up with. And we all who have been in the profession, we all have our mentors. We all have our role models, the people we look to. Who are some of yours?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. I first was introduced to the game of basketball with my dad. And it was really first as an observer, watching him play with, his siblings and, going to the park and just kind of watching and observing. And eventually that led to, me wanting to try it a little bit. And this was in high school. So I was kind of a late bloomer with basketball. So I didn't start like kids are starting today, like in the third grade. I'm in the ninth grade figuring things out, right? So as you can imagine, I'm pretty sure there are very comical film out there somewhere if anyone can find it. But I went to high school and I had a phenomenal high school coach. Breezy Bishop, she's, I want to say she was the National Coach of the Year. I don't know what year that was. I couldn't tell you the amount of athletes that she helped, go to college for free. And that kind of wet my whistle, so to speak, to really want to pursue college basketball as an occupation. And really it just has kind of snowballed from there. And the people that I've been fortunate to work with have been great influencers in a lot of different elements around the game. For sure.
The passion just kind of emanates from you every time I talk to you about it. You go through this journey, you end up at Lafayette College, and my experience tells me there's always a little bit of a gap between what you expect and what you get. And talk a little bit about that. When you first got to Lafayette, obviously you knew something about the program. You probably did your own research. But what was it about Lafayette that you expected, and how did that differ at all from what you experienced when you got here?
Well, you know what? What I expected was, I think Bruce McCutcheon and Katie McKittrick and the search committee really laid out, I will say, just like a state of the program, where things were and what they would like to see. And so expectation wise, obviously you can read stats and things of that nature. So I knew scoring, defense, like really all areas of the game would need to be addressed. And I also knew that obviously I'm going to be coaching kids that have a history of being successful overall, obviously in the academic end on one hand, and also in the athletic space. And for a lot of them, they were still experiencing that academic success, but not as much, athletically. So I was not surprised by those things. Everything has kind of played out the way that I thought it would from that aspect. I would say what I was surprised about is just how far we needed to come together to bridge the gap, from the work habits and just the understanding that as a Division I athlete, it's a year-round commitment. Your season's not from November to March. It's literally 365 days out of the year. You're training, you're preparing, you're looking to evolve as a player, you're studying the game. Then you get to the aspect where you're in school, you're practicing, working on the team concept. So I think really the kids were very open to it, but it really challenged them in a different way.
Well, your impact on the program has been profound, almost as much as it has been immediate. The trajectory has completely changed. One thing you could not have expected or anticipated was the kind of season that you faced with this year. Talk to us a little bit about those adjustments in the short time that we have.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's been a lot of adjustments, from something as simple as figuring out a calendar for when you're going to schedule practices, how you're going to have a day off. Because if you remember at the very beginning, A start date for the games were not announced like in, July, August, which, we would know that information a year in advance. We were waiting from the NCAA to kind of let us know what was going to go on. So, that was an adjustment. I didn't have all of the kids here, in September. And so I had about 5 or 6 of them here. And then by end of September, early October, everyone else starts to come, but now they have to go through resocialization. And so that's a slow 6-week process where you're not just hopping right on the court, right away. But to the kids' credit, they found a way to be creative and work and improve, and address the things that we asked them to do. But I mean, to be honest with you, John, I can't really tell you all the things that have kind of gone into this. Literally, I pray every morning no one rings my phone before 8, because that's generally where someone's positive. It's happening before 8 o'clock where you get that update. So I'm always kind of nervous up until that point. But really, even once the schedule even came out, now you're not playing Wednesday, Saturday like you've been accustomed to. It's now back to backs, and now trying to think about how do you best prepare the team, not doing too much, but then also not doing too little. And oh, by the way, you have half the practice time. So there's just a ton of moving parts. And for us, yes, we have a lot of people returning, but we also had a lot of people out last year with injuries. Some started and didn't finish, and then vice versa. And then you lose 3 seniors. And so you're really trying to piece it together. And oh yeah, we added 5 freshmen, and it's just a lot of moving parts. But you know what? The kids are doing all the things that we're asking of them, and we're just in the process. And that's kind of what I talk to them about.
Well, we can see that, Coach. In the few seconds we have left, as a fan, as a media person, we have the luxury of looking forward. You've got to tend to what's going on now. Yep. Just a little while ago, you and I spoke about the incoming class. I can't let you go without talking about how optimistic you must be about the future with that recruiting class. We saw them. They're terrific.
Yeah, we will add 3 young ladies who will continue to push us towards positionless basketball and being more dynamic. And that's something that we have been really working towards each year with recruiting. Not only being able to, I don't want specialists. And so what we've done in this recruiting class is we have 3 young ladies who can pass, dribble, shoot, defend, and they have length and size, and so that will continue to help us. We want to get more to pressing, more so than you've ever seen us do that. And I think these young ladies will help us do that, score the ball more, defend better. Like all of those things are going to come together for sure.
Well, Kia, it's always a pleasure in the short time we have. We could go on and on. I know you know that. I know that. It's a pleasure. Continued success with the Lafayette program. We'll talk more as the days and weeks go on here. But thank you so much for spending some time with us on the Lafayette Sports Network. And we'll be back with second half action, highlights, and statistics right after these words.
Thanks again.